Sermon on Matthew 13:44. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and hid. And for joy over it, he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Gospel of Matthew 13:44. In this brief parable, Jesus presents the kingdom of heaven through the imagery of hidden treasure. The picture is simple, yet it reveals profound realities concerning the unveiling of God's redemptive plan that had long been concealed within the scriptures and history of Israel. The setting of the parable reflects a common practice in the ancient world. Wealth was often hidden in fields for protection during times of uncertainty or invasion. If the owner died or the location was forgotten, the treasure remained concealed beneath the soil until someone unexpectedly discovered it. Jesus takes this familiar image and uses it to describe the kingdom of heaven. The treasure represents the immeasurable value of the kingdom that God was bringing to light through the ministry of Christ. For generations, the prophets had spoken of promises, covenants, and a coming restoration. Yet the full meaning of those promises remained veiled. The scriptures contained the riches of God's plan, but their true significance was not yet openly revealed. Paul later described this reality as a mystery that had been hidden for generations, but was now being made known through the proclamation of Christ. The treasure had always existed within the field of Israel's scriptures and covenant history, but its glory remained concealed until the time of revelation arrived. The field, therefore, represents the covenant world in which these promises were buried. Within the law, the prophets, the temple system, and the history of Israel lay the concealed riches of the kingdom that God intended to unveil through his Son. The man in the parable discovers this treasure. The language suggests an unexpected finding. The kingdom was not the result of human discovery through wisdom or effort, but the result of divine revelation breaking into history. What had been hidden was now being uncovered. Upon finding the treasure, the man hides it again and then goes with joy to sell all that he possesses in order to buy the field. The emphasis of the parable is not on sacrifice, but on joy. The discovery of the treasure is so overwhelmingly valuable that everything else becomes insignificant in comparison. This joy reflects the surpassing worth of what God had accomplished in Christ. The kingdom being revealed was not merely an improvement of the old covenant order. It was the fulfillment and completion of everything the scriptures had anticipated. The sacrificial system, the priesthood, the temple, and the entire structure of the old covenant pointed toward a greater reality that was now arriving. What had once been shadows and types was giving way to the substance found in the person and work of Jesus. The selling of all that the man possesses illustrates the transition from the old covenant world to the new reality of the kingdom. The structures and institutions that once defined Israel's relationship with God were temporary, awaiting the arrival of the greater fulfillment they foreshadowed. As the kingdom was revealed, the old order was passing away. The value of the treasure far exceeded the value of the field in which it had been hidden. The man purchases the field in order to possess the treasure, demonstrating the incomparable worth of the kingdom that had now been unveiled. The parable stands within a broader context in Matthew 13, where Jesus repeatedly describes the kingdom through various images. Each parable reveals different aspects of the same unfolding reality. The long-awaited reign of God was arriving through Christ, though often in ways that were not immediately recognized. Many in Israel expected a visible political kingdom, yet Jesus described a kingdom that was first revealed through hiddenness, mystery, and gradual unveiling. Like treasure buried in a field, its glory was not obvious to all, but to those who saw it, its value was beyond measure. The discovery of this treasure marks the turning point of redemptive history. What had been promised through Abraham, spoken through the prophets, and symbolized through the temple system, was now coming to its fulfillment. Through Christ, the true riches of the kingdom were being revealed. Complete forgiveness, the end of the sacrificial system, and the establishment of a new covenant reality grounded not in repeated offerings, but in a finished work. Thus, the parable of the hidden treasure illustrates the unveiling of God's long-concealed purpose. What had once been hidden in the field of Israel's covenant history was now being brought into the open through the ministry of Jesus. The kingdom, once concealed, had been found, and its worth exceeded everything that had come before.